Good. All right, you guys ready? I'm going to hit record.
Hold on. Okay, I'm good.
Okay, awesome. Have a great show. I'll pay attention.
Excellent.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. I am your host, Michael Curlin. Joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh. Douglas, what is going on today?
Happy Friday, Mikey.
Happy Friday. I like this Friday recording.
Yeah,
I can get you to start having happy hour, on a 2:30 on a Friday.
But yes,
what are you drinking?
5:30 on a Friday.
Yeah, boss. What are you drinking?
No, it's all right. Upward and Onward with Upward.
Wait, hold on. We're not recording. I don't know what just happened. We're starting over. Hey, it was a good take. Yeah. Hello, and welcome to another episode of This Is Our Year. Going for take number 2 because we fucked up and didn't hit record. Okay. So, I'm your host, Michael Curlin. Joining me, as always, my partner in crime, Dougie Fresh. Dougie, how you doing on this fine Friday afternoon at 5:30? And what are you drinking?
5:30, and we are doing well, man. Onward and upward to the weekend with Upward Brewing Company, Blackgrass Pils Noir. Have you ever heard of Pils Noir, and are you drinking Pinot Noir?
I am not drinking anything today because it's only 11:30 here, and I have the wife's birthday tonight, dinner, and so I don't want to show up blackout because that would be bad.
Probably in year one of fatherhood, yes, that would probably.
Yes, yeah. So
happy birthday, Alex.
And, well, it's actually tomorrow, but we're celebrating tonight because we just have birthday festivities all weekend long. So where are you going tonight? Tonight's her birthday. We're going to her favorite little bougie Mexican restaurant called Red O, and we will be drinking lots of margaritas and quite a few, probably enchiladas. She likes the enchiladas over there. Enchiladas. And probably some tequila shots for Mom. It's going to be Mom's Gone Wild. So that'll be good.
Watch out. All right.
Yeah, Meredith actually just landed. She's here. She's inside watching Aurelia. And we got the whole fam dam here. So,
say hi to everybody and enjoy.
Thanks, man.
This beer is from another region known for its Mexican food, the Catskill Mountains of New York.
Yeah, total.
Of course, but
Pils Noir. So, what is a Pils Noir?
We're going to find out.
Is it just a black Pilsner?
Actually, yeah, it is. Here's what it looks like.
It looks like a stout.
It really does.
Syracuse.
It looks like a giant Guinness in the wrong cup, but yeah, man, it's on the lighter side, 6% for this show at least, and it's made across the border, Livingston Manor. So
nice.
Cheers,
man. Tell me what it tastes like. Let's hear it because we're all interested in what a Pils Noir is.
Oh, I got a little. Okay, I like it. What does that taste like? It's a little bitter, actually. It's bitter. It takes me back to some like cheap beer I used to steal from my parents. Like, it's activating some memory locks of like Keystone Light or something, but in a good way.
Well, Keystone is no bitter beer face. I thought that was their like ad marketing,
right? But
even though it wasn't bitter beer face. Keystone was shit your pants though the next day face.
We know. I'm a connoisseur of all those brands that will. Leave you
my god! But, Keystone, Natty Light, the Beast, Milwaukee's best. It was nothing best about Milwaukee's best.
And preview of Viacone, but a lot of Beast Ice up in Syracuse, New York.
Yeah, man. I won't ruin your Viacone, but I want to get into that at the end of the show. And dude, we were gonna do like all Mets today, right? And we haven't round up about anything, but there's so much going on.
Track. We apologize, everybody. I love talking about hockey. We went off.
Stop apologizing. Stop apologizing.
The hockey stuff was great.
Yeah, and Rosen, if you're watching, like, I can't believe you don't like Creed 1 or 2. Like, lame. You're lame for saying that. That doesn't make sense to me.
Creed 1 and 2 or Rocky 1 and 2?
Creed 1 and 2. Okay. And he liked Rocky 4 more than Rocky 1, which I guess that there can be an argument made for that if that's, your nostalgia. I'm not going to argue that with you, but not liking Creed 1 or Creed 2 is just what? Come on, dude. Come on,
I'll
bro.
let you know when I see him.
Yeah, I know. You have so much catching up to do on movies. I thought you'd be more of like a movie connoisseur, but what do we want to? Oh yeah,
real quick, I kind of am. I got the Criterion channel. Actually, I got it from my parents, but I don't think they use it, so I stole the password. I'm watching the real like nerdy stuff, like the Kurosawa.
And I don't know what that is.
Yeah,
I don't know what that is.
So I either watch terrible movies, huge MST3K fan. Obviously, you know me, 80s, 90s movies, terrible shit, give it to me, or like really high end shit.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's the high end shit? Like the Kurosawa? What is that? I don't even know.
Yeah, no. Let's not get off on like film majors study.
So let me ask you this: Did you watch the movie? It was the one where they fucking captured the sea monster and the chick fell in love with the sea monster.
Shape of Water.
Yeah, did you watch that?
I watched the fish sex on a plane.
Did you like it?
From what I remember like watching it and then being like, all right, because I heard going in that was really good and I was kind of underwhelmed, and then it was like winning awards and shit, and I was like, that wasn't the best movie I've seen.
Right, it was agreed. No,
and I haven't rewatched it. I bet it's worse on the rewatch now. I don't know.
It was pretty bad. I didn't like it. But it did have Michael Shannon, and Michael Shannon always plays a good bad guy. He was actually the bad guy in Bullet Train, which I recently watched. If you want to talk about bad movies that are kind of not that bad, it was pretty awesome.
You need to watch that one.
It was way better than I thought it was going to be.
Is that the one that they based on Train to Busan, which is like the Korean zombie movie? That movie kicks ass.
No.
Train to Busan. Check that one out.
Okay, I will get that.
If you like, all that blood and gore shit.
Yeah, this was more like it was like a dark, dark comedy.
Okay, like
but shoot him up. Brad Pitt. There's a lot of people in it. Michael Shannon's the bad guy, and he plays a Russian, samurai oligarch. And I don't know. He wasn't. I don't know why they picked him for that role, but it wasn't my favorite role he's ever done because he had this like terrible Russian accent. But it's Michael Shannon, right? So. But yeah, let's not go way down. Anyway,
people are here for the Mets. You want to talk about the Mets, bro?
I do, but there's so much other stuff, man. Like we got some big giant news that came out this week. We're on the cliff here with the Jets. We had dude, I was ready to write the Islanders season off at the end of the second period last night, and now I'm back on like we can take anybody out now. And I think we got to give a little love to that before we dive into the Mets, right? No? So we just say fuck it and do all Mets?
People get so mad if we talk about the Islanders.
All 7 of our fucking viewers? That's fine, dude.
It wasn't just last night, and last night was a great win. I don't think them losing last night would have ruined the season, but they beat what? They've been beating everybody, basically.
We swept the Penguins for the first time ever. Huge.
Pittsburgh sucks.
They're right behind us, so that was a big win last night.
Do we have a Ewing theory brewing with Matt Barzal out? I don't know what the record is exactly, but it's very good.
I do. Since we've traded for Bo Horvat, we're like 9-1-3. And since Barzal went out, we're 6-1-1.
Incredible.
We literally we've only lost one game in the last 13 and a couple of overtime losses, but
let's catch the Rangers, man. That would be hilarious. And,
dude,
and
it's not out of the realm.
It just goes to show how ridiculous the East is.
Right.
Especially compared to the West. Like the playoffs are going to be lit. What are we, like 60% to make it now? We were like 10 a month
I don't know. So, I don't look at that shit, but I can tell you that we have everyone has games in hand on us. I think we have 79 points or 76 points. I know we're 5 points behind the Rangers after last night, and they have about 3 games in hand on us. So it's going to be hard to catch them. But we are, I think we're like 3 or 4 points up on the Penguins who are behind us. And we just literally beat every team that's chasing us in the wild cards in the last week and a half. Buffalo, Detroit, Ottawa. Yeah, they got
Florida
hammered.
Might be the only threat.
Maybe. So we'll see, man. But they're playing really well. And that's, I think, worth noting that I don't know if Barzal being out, is that have something to do with it? I do think what is actually more important is that we're getting more rest in between games right now, because we have played more games than anyone in the league, and we are one of the older teams in the league that we're only playing 2 games a week instead of 3 games a week. We're looking fresher on our games. I think there's a little bit more of a sense of urgency with the veterans now. They're like, okay, it's time to turn it on. I do think for the last 2 years, this team has been resting on their laurels in the regular season and kind of waiting to get in the playoffs. And then last year, there was never a chance for them to actually start. It was start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. This year, I feel like they were like, okay, it's time to turn it on and let's go. And I think Bo Horvat has made, I think, give Lou his credit. Like he picked the right guy. He didn't overpay for him now based on everything we saw at the trade deadline. We got him early. We signed him to the long-term deal. He's going to make Pajot expendable in the offseason. And he wins. He's like top 12 in faceoff percentage in the league. He takes all the big faceoffs now. And, he is not a 5'9", 180-pound guy. He's a 6'1", 210-pound guy. And that's a big difference when you're grinding day in and day out on the ice. So
especially the style they play. So he's just been an amazing fit. He's not going to be a 40, 50 goal scorer probably ever again, but that's all right.
It's all right. We're not that team, but if we can shore up, I think it's given us a lot of flexibility in the offseason, but let's not talk about the offseason. We're looking good to get into the playoffs, and I feel confident the way this team's playing, if they can keep it up, that we're going to make the playoffs.
So confident I might go tomorrow. And it's the Capitals, though, so I'm worried. I kind of a mush already, and the Caps always have our number, but we shall see. But yeah, man, it's fun. It's great to be back. Season isn't over. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
We got something to watch for the last. We're literally in the last month of the season, so last 30 days. Here we go. Let's buckle up and see what happens. So
you're right. There is so much to talk about. Talk to us about Aaron Rodgers coming to New York.
Well, it's not a done deal yet, but I mean, I don't know. I've been saying it from day one. I thought it was a done deal, and I still think it's a done deal. I feel very confident that, first and foremost, Doug, if you had a guaranteed $100 million, would you, and you could collect it if you worked for 2 more years, or you had to retire and you didn't get any of it? Retired. Right. So,
we're not retiring. None of these guys retire.
I think that's why I don't want to talk about Brady. He's going to probably end up in fucking either San Francisco or Miami, and it's going to happen, after where do you think he's going? You think he's going to go back to New England?
Oh, I don't know. I think the funniest would be the Jets, though.
No, he would never. That never happen in a million years. He would never go to the Jets. But
just to watch all your heads explode.
Oh, dude. But yeah, Rodgers is pretty much a done deal. I think Woody is trying to be cute, though, and not wanting to take on all that money, the guaranteed money. It's not the cap part of it, the actual real money that Woody's going to have to pay Aaron Rodgers. He doesn't want to take that on, and he's trying to figure out a way to make the deal work. I just want this deal to get done so that we can bring him in, because at 39 years old, he is the best quarterback that's ever worn a fucking Jets uniform since Joe Namath. He's probably better than Joe Namath. He's better. He's definitely better than Joe Namath. And if he can take us to a Super Bowl, the next 2 years, it's our window, and I don't care about 20, he's not retiring next year either. The only reason he's even fucking talking about retiring is because Green Bay has utterly disrespected him for the last 4 years and not given him the help that he needs to put a championship team on the field. I would be pissed too. Like, people want to say he's crazy and all this other shit. If I'm 30 at the time, he would have been 35 or 34 years old, and you use your first round pick on my replacement when I'm still in the prime of my career, it made no fucking sense. It still doesn't make sense. Too, right? Yeah. Jordan Love's going into his 4th year now. So they want to turn it over to him so that they can then give him activate his 5th year extension and not have to, do what the Giants just did with Daniel Jones, which was pay him an extra $15 million this year because they didn't activate his extension 2 years ago, right? So, Anyway, good segue. Let's talk about the G-Men, because they kind of did exactly what we thought they were going to do. And
I don't have anything spicy on this. I think it was pretty obvious this was going to happen.
Yep.
And the only worry was it's still Daniel Jones, so we're not backing up the Brinks truck, are we? And I think that was everybody's worry in terms of years and money. But I have no issue with this deal. Sure, it's Danny Jones is going to get overpaid for a couple of years based on what he's already done.
Right.
But they believe in this dude, and they carve themselves an out after 2 years. And that
right.
not only means like 18 mil of dead cap hit. If so, worst comes to worst, that's all we're dealing with. We've dealt with dead cap hits before. And then Shane gets to draft his quarterback. This isn't his quarterback, but him and Dable are signaling that they have a plan to win with this guy. They believe in him. Hell yeah! Welcome back, Danny.
Daniel, and just think about this, Doug, from an outsider, just a perspective from a guy watching. His contract for his age, for whatever, for his one good year as a free agent, it was the going rate. You weren't, maybe you could have got him for $2 million less a year, but like if you look at the breakdown, like you said, there's an out after the second year, and if there's not an out, he's going in 4 years. He's going to be underpaid, and he's going to be making $50 million because the cap's going to go up, dude. Like every year, the NFL salary cap isn't fucking real, right? And so let's just stop with that whole bullshit of quarterbacks make. If you are not on a rookie deal, a quarterback is going to make $40 million or more on their contract. If they're re-signing a long-term deal, right? Unless you get them franchised, and that's what the whole game with Lamar right now is all about. But Daniel Jones, it's the going rate. Yes, Derek Carr got a couple dollars less, but also Derek Carr saw what was on the free agent landscape, and that was his going rate, right?
And he's also 5 years older, right?
He's 5 years older, and he's been a league average quarterback. He's mediocre. He's not. It's not like 10 years ago, Kirk Cousins was the guy that snuck free, right? And that was the first time like a starting quarterback that was above, that was league average is what I'm talking about. Like, all the below average guys sneak free, and then they take flyers like Geno, and maybe that shit works out, right? And that wasn't even a flyer. He was the backup for a couple years. But you get a guy like Kirk that actually shook free because I guess they didn't want to pay him in Washington because Washington doesn't want to pay anybody. And he was able to set the market at that time, and he leveraged the Jets against the Vikings. But like now, you've seen other quarterbacks shake free, right? So anyway, I'm getting way off topic. The point is, they did the right thing here. You had to lock Jones up long term because you don't want to lock Barkley up long term. You don't want to pay Barkley big money. You want to get Barkley. Yeah, you want to get Barkley on.
Jones would have been shitty.
Yeah, exactly. You wanted to get Barkley on the fucking non-exclusive tag, because it's a running back. You got him for one more year around what he's going to be happy getting paid and what you're going to feel comfortable paying him, and you're not locked into like this long-term deal, right? With him, which usually
extend him, but sure,
sure, they might extend him, but like again, it'll be there's not as much guaranteed money. There's no dead cap hits down the road, and it's a running back, dude. Nobody like the running backs they've proven time and time again that they're expendable.
Yeah. I brought up that Larry Bird rule, right, about running backs. But anyway, what was I going to say? I know you guys fed tunnel vision for Aaron Rodgers, and I get that, and I honestly hope you guys get him, and I hope he does well.
Thank you.
He's not the best available quarterback right now, and
no. Well, it depends on what you think and what your offense is. No, Lamar is the best available quarterback, yes, but is he or is he not? Like, I understand the debate, and I understand why the Ravens don't want to pay him, and I understand why I don't understand why other teams don't want to pay him. I think that's total collusion.
Right.
But Lamar got the non-exclusive. We'll talk about this for a second. Got the non-exclusive tag, so $32 million, 2 first-round picks if you sign him from someone else. Everyone's saying they don't want to fucking negotiate with him because the Ravens are just going to match it anyway, and they're letting everyone else do the dirty work so they don't have to be the bad guy because Lamar doesn't want to fucking sign a deal with them, right? I get all that, and nobody wants to like overpay for him, and I see why people don't want to overpay for him. He's come from a very specific offense, and
is that his fault though?
It's not his fault, but you have to tailor everything. You would have to tailor everything on your offense around Lamar. He's a very specific quarterback, and this is not a slight. This is the truth. He is a running quarterback. He's got accuracy. He can throw out of the pocket. If he's got some good talent around him, he can definitely pass, but he's a run first guy, and he's not the biggest guy. Like if you look at Daniel Jones, if you look at Josh Allen, those guys are fucking huge. They can take hits. They're 6'5", 230, and they can run. That's why I guarantee you Anthony Richardson coming out from Florida, I don't know if you saw his 40 numbers, but the guy absolutely lit the combine on fire. And he was He's got a cannon. He ran a 4.40. He's got a cannon. He got mobility, and he's 6'5", 230. The guy is going to be a top 10 pick just on that alone, on his projectables. He was okay in college, and he had like a 55% completion percentage, which is very similar to Josh Allen. But again, we're going down fucking wormholes here. Lamar is like 6'1", like 210. He's a slighter guy.
Running up the middle. And that's why they designed that offense with like Ingram and then Dobbins and Gus and all those guys. I mean, that was the plan, right? To smash up defenses through the middle, and then Lamar can torch you on the outside, either with his feet or with his arm. I don't see why he could build that also somewhere else. And by the way, he never had any receivers in Baltimore.
No, they just did not invest. Don't tell Rashad Bateman that.
I mean, Bateman's fine, but
no, I'm referring to his tweet fight with Eric DeCosta last week.
I missed
DeCosta. Yeah, someone came out and went after the Ravens GM. Why can't you get it right with drafting receivers? And he basically was like, I don't know. We're going to keep trying to get it right. And then Bateman just destroyed him and was like, maybe if you treated us better, maybe if you paid us better, maybe you had better facilities. Yeah.
Good.
And I was like, oh man, that might get you off the team.
Well, that's kind of my point. Like, what if Baltimore is just incompetent and this is a free quarterback who could change the course of your franchise? Why would you not?
I think he is. And I think that if the team, I think that the problem is he wants Deshaun money. And I think the problem is he hasn't proven that he's been healthy over the last 2 years.
Deshaun did. I mean, that contract's a nightmare.
All
these quarterback contracts are a nightmare, though. So
they're the going rate, but it's not about the years and it's not about the salary. It's about the guaranteed money. And so Deshaun got all 5 years guaranteed, and that was what Cleveland was willing to do to steer him away from Atlanta. And so now, right, and now Lamar has said, I want to have the same contract. Baltimore doesn't want to guarantee him 5 years. A lot of teams are weary of guaranteeing him 5 years because he is injury prone. He has not finished the last 2 years, and he is a slight quarterback who runs a lot and he takes a lot of hits. I mean, if the Jets signed him and they could get him on a 5 year on the same deal, let's just say he got the same deal as Daniel Jones. Yeah, I'm ecstatic about that. Any team would be, but guess what? The Ravens are going to match that contract. So they're not. It's not like he's really out there. You're going to have to guarantee him 5 years, $230 million. Fully guaranteed to get him. And then you have a guy that may not be able to finish that entire contract. And that's what teams are worried about, I think.
Sure. It's just it's a weird scene. It's
right.
The dude can play, but
yes.
And I don't know. But go ahead.
There's definitely collusion. Come on. There's definitely collusion. Yeah. So anyway, we have spent 20 minutes on hockey and on football. I think it's time for our New York Mets deep dive.
Yeah, man.
Let's do it. Where do you want to start? I'm excited. I'm excited about this.
I love it. And by the way, I've been looking. I've been checking. You've been coordinated blue for like 10 episodes in a row. I need you to keep this going.
Hey, man. Yeah, I'm trying to give the people what they want.
And yes, and on that note, man, I don't know where you want to start with this team, but they're fired up. It sounds like spring training is going great. Other than Jose Quintana.
Yeah.
But we knew this was going to happen, and that's why you have David Peterson, Tyler McGill, right?
Yep. I think let's start with the rotation. Good place to be. Verlander's pitching today. I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I expect Verlander and Scherzer to be ready to rock. I think the only thing I will say about these guys is that they probably won't make, what do they normally average? Like 32 starts if they don't miss a start. I think these guys will probably make like 27, 28 starts. I think they'll skip a few starts because we have the depth. So I feel locked and loaded with our 1-2 punch right
lessons learned last year, right? Everybody got tired.
Everyone got tired. I don't think Max needs to be pitching so much in the middle of the season. I don't think Justin needs to be. Justin's a workhorse, though. He's different than Max. Max is a little slighter, and he's kind of like I don't want to say he's breaking down, but I saw it a little bit last year, the breakdown. But Justin is fucking he's a workhorse
stuff, right?
Yeah, like Justin's
I'm not even worried about these two their arms. It's like just 40-year-olds doing stuff, as we know, stuff can come out of nowhere. But
correct. So, did you watch Senga and his first debut of the preseason?
Completely missed it, but from what I heard, everybody's like, okay, yeah, this kid has the goods, right?
Yeah, so he was good with his repertoire. He had 4 to 5 pitches, crazy movement. I mean, his ghost forkball definitely dives off the table, and his fastball was touching like 96 to 98, and that was his first spring outing. His control was a little erratic. He definitely walked more batters than I wanted to see. I think he's going to have a problem with walks. But
I heard is a concern. He's going to like rack up.
I mean, it took him 40 pitches to get through 2 innings, so that's a 5-inning pitcher right there. Not ideal. Not ideal. But if he can hone his stuff, and I've heard he really wants to work hard. He's all about like becoming great. So you can't do that makeup for someone. Like they have to either have it or don't have it, right? So I think he'll be great as either a 3 or a 4. Carrasco's solid. He is what he is. He's going to be the crafty vet at the back of the rotation, eating some innings. You're going to get your 5 or 6 innings from him. He's going to have like 3 good outings, and he's going to get bombed his 4th outing, right? Yeah. And we're going to have to live with that. That's okay. And then you got Tyler McGill and David Peterson that are going to fill in for Quintana. I think Quintana is going to be out to the All-Star break.
Yeah, it doesn't sound good.
No, it doesn't sound good.
But I have faith in Peterson and to an extent McGill. Although McGill had such a weird year last year.
Well, he's just
ended up being a bullpen guy, but
he's not a bullpen guy. He's a starter, but he's just such a big guy that he like throws so hard. He throws so hard, and that I think his windup takes a lot. It's not smooth and easy. It's just like a big, long, lumbering guy. That arms.
I've been working with him for a few years now, so let's hope they're progressing. I think they will.
Well, I think one of those two is going to be, your 5th starter, and I think it'll be Peterson just because they want to get a lefty in the rotation to backfill Quintana.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah, so I think McGill and Lucchesi will be down in AAA, and I think that's totally fine.
And I think both those guys are going to get plenty of starts. They may go 6 guys throughout the season, or during parts of the season, I should say.
Yeah, I think so. I think they're gonna. So we'll get to the bullpen now, and I think they're gonna have. They said they're gonna break without a Trevor Williams type in the bullpen. I don't know if I believe that. I think
especially with Quintana down, right?
So you got obviously Diaz is your closer, right? There's no question about that. And Robertson are your seventh and 8th inning guys. Raley
and Smith are guaranteed jobs.
Raley and Smith are guaranteed jobs. So there's your 5 of what are we going to do? 7 or 8 in the bullpen. Probably I think it's going to be
at least 2 more spots.
Yeah, I think it's going to be 7 in the bullpen, right? Because you're going to have. Hold on, we're going to have 8 plus 4 on the bench, right? So
I'd say at least, right?
So that's 12. And what is it? A 26 man? Yeah. You can only do 13.
14. It's 13 now. Okay.
Yeah, so I think 13 and 14 pitchers is where we're going to be because we're going to have the backup catcher, the backup DH, Tommy Pham, and Guillorme, and that's going to be our whole bench. We're not going to carry a 5th guy. So it'll be 14 pitchers, right? But is there a rule you can only carry 13 pitchers? I can't remember.
There might be. I don't recall. There's been so many rules, right? But
okay, well, let's assume there's a bug. A bug just went in my eye. I've had enough issues with my eyes the last couple of days, so that's the last thing I need to deal with.
Sorry.
But so I think we got the 5 guys right there, right? Or was that 6 guys? I can't remember. It was Diaz, Robertson, Ottavino, Raley, and Smith.
No, that's 5. So
okay, so I think Steven Nogosek is going to be one of the guys that breaks camp because he's out of options and they like him. He did well last year in some spot starts, right?
Yep.
So that's 6. So we got what? We need
a couple more.
3 more? Is that 3 more? Is it 9? We're going to 9 plus 5 would be 14.
Let's do 2 more.
Let's do 3 more because I think it's 26 man, and I think we're gonna stick with the 4-man bench, right? So we got 3 more. So we need the long man, and we got 2 other guys. So I think the long man is either going to be Lucchesi or Elieser Hernandez. Those are the 2 guys that are going to be the long man out of the bullpen that are going to fill that Trevor Williams role. I don't know which one is going to be. I don't know if Hernandez has any options. Lucchesi does, so I think he'll probably, if Hernandez doesn't, I think he'll get the nod over Lucchesi, and he'll go down. Lucchesi will go down and get, stretched out so he can be a spot starter. And then you got Butto, Lucchesi, and McGill in Syracuse, right? So we feel good about that depth, right?
We do.
So then we got 2 more spots. I think the kid, the Rule 5 draft pick, or Rule 8 or whatever, Rule 6, Rule 5, is that what it is? Zach Green. I think Zach Green's got an inside track because he's a Rule 5 guy.
Yeah, they got to give him back to the Yankees if he doesn't make the team, basically.
Yeah, so. And I don't know how he's done in spring so far, but I think he's, they picked him for a reason. He's got a high 90s fastball. He's kind of what they really like in a bullpen arm. So I think that guy will be there. And then I think the last spot, Doug, if it's not
names for you.
It's Montes de Alca is the one that's been lighting the world on
Turning
fire.
Heads.
Yeah. He's this year's Holderman.
Yeah, man. Like not only with, and he got a cup of coffee last year, I believe, but not only with the velocity, but apparently the movement on the fastball is like astounding people.
Yep.
He's got options though, so you're right. Maybe he doesn't make the opening day squad because, again, it's roster management. But I want to remind everybody: can you name or can you guess how many pitchers the Mets used last year?
Overall?
Yeah.
Like 25?
33.
33. No, that's right.
See all these guys.
Yeah, because then there's Coonrod too, who's out of options, I believe.
Sam Coonrod. Here's a name that you haven't mentioned, but the Mets grabbed, and he was out all last year. But I think they really like this guy, and that's John Curtis.
That's right. I think he actually is making the squad. He's been doing well.
And then there's Jeff Brigham too from the Marlins, who was in that Hernandez trade from.
And I really think they like him a lot because they had a top sliders in the MLB last year, and Edwin Diaz was number 1, and Brigham was number 5. So
it wasn't really on that list too. It was like all Mets. It was pretty.
I'm not sure, but probably. But Brigham's got options.
Yeah.
The Montes de Aca's got options. I don't know who was the other guy you just mentioned. Curtis.
I forget if he has options.
I don't know if he has options, and he's been pitching really well in spring training too. And we signed him last year and kept him out all year and let him rehab on Tommy John just for this year. So I can't imagine that we're
not
not
going to toss him aside now. And,
No. So there's some guys, and I think
Hartwig too. There's a lot of dudes.
Yeah, but he's got options, and I don't think he's ready. That's a guy that's definitely going to go to Syracuse and just work out his kinks. But
I'd agree. But I think you're going to see all these guys we named during the year.
Absolutely, I feel like we have so much bullpen depth.
Like back in the day, you would run out 15 to 20 pitchers all year.
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, GMs use their entire 40-man. If you've noticed, up and down Syracuse shuttle. So we're going to get to know all these guys and more.
Yep.
And more. Maybe Michael Givens comes back. We love that guy.
Oh, I'm good on that guy. That guy, no thank you. But there's, TJ McFarland is an old guy that Buck liked. So is Tommy Hunter. I think those guys will start off the 40. They'll start off the 40. They'll go down to Syracuse, and then we'll be making some sort of move at some point, right? When Quintana goes on the 60, that's how they'll get on.
Look, it's really nice to talk about all this depth compared to
and so that's I feel really good about our pitching. Even with Quintana going down, I feel really good about our pitching. I'd love to pick up another guy that can go to AAA and be a guy. We picked up Trevor. I don't know if you remember this. We picked up Trevor Cahill last year, and he was in AAA. I don't think he ever pitched for us in majors, but someone like that we can put down at Syracuse and just, another arm in case we need it down the line. So I feel really good about our depth. Anything else you want to talk about on the pitching side of things?
Not really. I was looking at who else made starts for the Mets last year, but they're actually pretty lucky.
We got
that stuff always happens.
We had a couple of spot starters. Butto got his ass beat, I remember, and there was a couple other guys in there. But
Thomas Szapucki, gotta say.
Oh, yes, he did.
Yes, he did. There were a ton of relievers though. So
ton. I feel good about it though. I feel like we have identified the kind of pitcher that we like and that Hefner likes, and then Epler's gone out and just signed as many with options as he could, and I think that's a great start to your point.
Yeah, but let's not undersell. Ottavino had a great year, and maybe he regresses a bit, but like bringing Robertson in to help him out with that role, where Trevor May last year unfortunately just couldn't hack it, like he was just breaking down or whatever.
Yeah. Also, Trevor May was a guy that came in from the previous regime, right? That was not a Epler signing, and
it's really good for him the year before, I thought.
But he didn't. So if you look at Hefner, he has a certain pitcher he likes. He wants a pitcher with a high velocity fastball, and he wants a fucking knee buckling slider, right? That's what everybody in the bullpen pretty much throws. Diaz, Ottavino. I don't know what Robertson's repertoire is, and I don't know what Raley's repertoire is, but a lot of the guys in the bullpen, that's what he focuses on, is just fastball, slider, and he wants the fastball.
Raley's a slider guy, by the way.
Yeah, and he wants that slider to be released just like the fastball is, so it fools the hitter. And he's done a really good job of that. So they've really focused in on a lot of these guys are the same guys, right? They're fastball sliders. Maybe some of them have splitters, but for the most part, we're fastball, slider, changeup, bullpen, and he's narrowed it down to what he wants. And now Epler's gone out and really scoured the waiver wire and identified the pitchers and the free agents and the minor league free agents, the pitchers that he thinks Hefner can work with. So I feel like that's really honed in. I feel like we have identified what we like. The you've seen. I don't know if you've watched any of the spring training games, but the analytics guy, he's like the nerdy bald guy. I forget his name.
I've seen him. I watch innings here and there. But.
So he's the like completely bald with like a beard, doesn't wear a hat. He's like wearing just like a Mets polo, and he's got glasses. And they call his name out. I can't remember his name, but they're like, that's the analytics guy, and he just sits there with
like straight out of Central Casting.
Yes, exactly.
Guy.
Yes, nice. Exactly.
Hey.
So they've identified, they know, and I'm sure they've identified all the other players in the league that match what they're looking for. And when they bring them in, like they change careers, man. Like Ottavino was good, but and he's older, but we got him on the team, and he had one of his best years last year. So
he did, and again, the John Curtis thing speaks to what you're talking about too. They identified him like more than a year ago,
right?
Like we can make this work whenever he's ready. So
right. Yep.
That's a great point, man. I think they love Lucchesi. I always forget as well. And he's had injury problems, and they've stuck with him, so they see something there.
Yeah. I mean, he's definitely a lefty depth, like fifth starter kind of guy, and I think it's going to be interesting. It's going to be interesting, because Carrasco is going to drop off after this year, and I think it'll be Peterson or McGill that gets that, and then we'll see where Quintana ends up. And those two, I think we got some good organizational depth, even on the rotation side. And we just need to backlog that with some draft picks moving their way through the system this year, which I'm sure they will. I'm sure a couple of these guys are going to come up and start looking really good,
Well, in terms of prospects, the Mets system is really good. But the best pitching prospects are farther away than the bats. And the bats look amazing. You want to transfer to the bats, use that as a nice little segue?
Yeah, man, I think you're right. And I think, it's spring training 2023, the stuff progresses through the years. So I think we were ranked as like a top 6 minor league organization. And we're really top heavy with the bats, to your point. Right. But I do think that we've done a good job of stockpiling some later round guys and some college arms. And I think these arms just need some time to show. Like, look at Montes de Oca last year. Who the fuck was he? And now like he's going to be in the bullpen. I mean, there's definitely some guys in the probably the A and double A level that, aren't really on our radar, like Mike Vassell, right? That was the guy they identified. He was like an 8th round pick. I think he went to UVA or Virginia Tech. And he if you read about him, his freshman and sophomore year was like talked about to be a 1st round pick. And then his junior year, he either went back for his junior or senior year. And they got a new pitching coach. They tweaked something on him, and he had a terrible year. But we still identified him. He fell. We got him in the 8th round. And they think that they're going to turn this guy into like a middle of the rotation guy. And everything we've read about him so far, he looks like he could be that guy. So anyway,
he's up there. Dom Hamill is ranked around him too. That's a name to watch. Blake Tidwell, of course, last year's draft. But you're absolutely right. And by the way, God, how hard is it just to get through, just to build a career in baseball, man? Because you're right. Things change so quickly, especially if you're a pitcher.
Dude, it's
not only the injuries, but
it's not a lot of times it's not just about the talent, dude. Like a lot of these guys have similar talent, it's about the coachability and like, so when I worked in minor league ball for the Lynchburg Hillcats, which was a Pirates A-ball team back in like 2001, we had this number one pick. We had 2 number 1 picks of the Pirates, which were really high picks. And this is back in 2000 when their scouting was bad. They were not good. And neither of the guys ever made it to the majors. This guy, J.R. Smith, was a center fielder, big kid out of high school that they took. And then they had this guy, what was his name? Blake Thompson or something like that, a lefty. And they never made it. And it was because I think it was because you put these kids at 18, 19, 20 in, and they're living on their own. Their parents don't move with them, right? So they're living, and like you've seen all the stuff that's come out about minor league ball over the last year of the living conditions. You're living, and like you're making $1 million. What are you doing at 18, 19? You're baseball. You're done at the park. You're either done at 10 o'clock and you're going out and getting a beer with the boys, and then you're chasing ladies around if that's what you're into at 18, 19, which most guys probably are, and you're probably not getting enough sleep. And like all this shit, there's so much extracurricular stuff that nobody knows about. And that life is a grind, man. So like, yeah, you all can probably throw 97, 98 miles an hour, but do you want to be great? Do you want to put the work in? Do you want to go to bed early and sacrifice chasing girls and getting drunk?
And to so many hours on the bus too.
It's so many hours on the dude. I was in the Carolina League, and it was from, I want to say the most northern was Frederick, Maryland, and the most southern was fucking Myrtle Beach.
Yeah.
And that's, from, you're talking 8 to 10 hours on it's not a luxury bus. Yeah. You're sitting in a chair for 8 to 10 hours. You're getting off a bus, and then you got to go warm up and play baseball like that. And then, you're staying in a hotel for 2-3 days, and then you're probably
in the room.
with 4 other dudes, right? Who's getting good sleep. And so whatever, man. We're lost in translation here. Let's talk about
that's why that show or the episode we did last year with the Checo brothers was awesome.
It was.
It's a fascinating life. Anyway, what were we talking about?
On to the bats. So huge news today. Starling Marte back in the lineup. Hit a home run.
Darren Ruff's healthy, right? Oh, did he hit a home run? Nice.
Marte hit a home run today so far. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Ruff is like 0 for 27 again or whatever. So everyone's ready to fire him to the moon. But let's talk about it. What's that?
Brett Baty.
Oh yeah, Brett Baty. So I don't think again it's going to come down to options in my opinion, Douglas.
Oh no. Yeah, check this out. Here's some of the further clarifying info on Brett Baty. If they want to play the service time manipulation game, he burned a lot of time last year because he was on Major League IL. So they would have to if they bring him up in like June, then it'll only be like his
year one
rookie year. Or yeah, exactly. Yeah,
right.
So if they're thinking about saving money, they could do that with him.
I mean, they proved with Alonso they don't care about it, right? So I don't think
they care, but it's there.
Yeah, I think so. Here's what I think: Alonso's your first baseman, McNeil's your second baseman, Lindor's your shortstop, and I think Escobar is going to break camp as your third baseman. I think that you're going to break camp with Narvaez and Nido as your catching platoon. And then you're going to go Canna, Nimmo, Marte as your outfield. Pham's going to be your fourth outfielder. And you're going to have Ruff and Vogelback as your DH platoon. And you're going to have basically Ruff, Nido, Pham, and Guillorme as your backup infielder on your bench every day. And the only reason that this makes sense is because everyone else has options. And they can go play every day in the minor. Vientos is knocking the cover off the ball. Beatty's knocking the cover off the ball. Do they have a lot more? Mauricio's knocking the cover off the ball. Do they have more to prove? not from an offensive standpoint in spring training, but they can use reps at their positions that they want them to play. Yes. So I don't know where. Especially they're all three of them are fucking third basemen right now.
Right.
So what are you going to do? Because they all three can't play third base. So you're going to let Mauricio play short. You're going to let Vientos play first, and you're going to let Beatty play third. I don't know. Beatty, I think, projects as the actual long-term third baseman of this team.
I think you keep him at third, by the way.
Yes, yeah. I do. I agree. And then Mauricio, you got to figure out where you want to put him. And I think Vientos is got the fastest track because I think if Ruff does start out the year rough, that Vientos will get the call up and he will be the right-handed guy to come up and replace him. I think Alvarez is going to spend at least the first half in the minors catching because he needs to catch. And we've got Nito. It's not. There's no need for him to rush.
When they signed Narvaez, that pretty much cinched it for me. Here's one thing you didn't mention though that might end up happening. Escobar's been taking reps in left field, and he could also step into the roof spot as a DH too. So if they really, really want to put Beatty at third, they can.
Right. And I think that is possible. There's nothing wrong with keeping Escobar as your bench guy utility. If you can, and especially if you can play a little left, he can play second, he can play third. I'm sure he can play short in a pinch if he needed to. He's a switch hitter, so that's always good to have on your bench.
A lot more versatile than Ruff.
Yeah,
obviously.
Yeah, and so I'm here for the Darren Ruff experiment for the month of April and part of May. I think the guy has hammered lefties his whole career, and let's give him the opportunity. He's making $3.5 million this year, and he's a free agent after this year. His contract is totally releasable. It's totally tradable. There is no reason that we need to rush this guy off the. I know, but everyone just wants to get rid of him because he had a bad end of the year when he came to our team.
Get a hit in spring training though.
He has a stolen base apparently though. I guess in the last 3 games. So let the guy just settle in and let's see how Vogelback and him do as the DH. And if we have issues, we have so much in reserve at Syracuse on that end too. We are so chock full of depth. For the first time as a Met fan in my lifetime, I feel so confident about the depth of this team. The Quintana injury, I didn't even care. I was like, it sucks, but it doesn't.
Especially in the lumber department, right? But no, you're right. Like pitching is true as well. Mets have historically been a pitching franchise, but man, these bats coming up.
Yeah, I am excited. I'm excited for Beatty. I think Vientos will end up being the right-handed part of the DH at some point in time. And I'm excited. I had written Mauricio off. I'm like, trade him where he's going to play. And now I'm like, we got to find a place for this guy because the guy looks like a young outfield. Right. He looks like a young Alfonso Soriano to me.
He does.
He's just a big, tall, lanky guy that can hit that just has no fucking position. Yeah. And maybe he ends up being the full-time. Is he a switch hitter? I can't remember.
I can't remember either. Like his issues right now are chasing, balls, swinging at bad stuff. So he probably does need more Syracuse time. While you look that up, though, I think Vientos and Mauricio are still technically trade chips as well, though. So we'll see what they do.
Let's pull up Mauricio right now and just see what he does. He is a switch hitter. So that guy could essentially be your full-time DH if he can start laying off that slider outside the zone because I love it. He's a guy that's put on. I mean, hey, when we first signed him, he was a skinny little kid, and now he is a man-child. He is a big boy,
and he is still 21, right?
I know. So yeah, I don't think any of these guys are trade chips. I don't think we want to trade any of these guys. They could be, but I'd hate to see them go. I'd rather make sure that Vogelback and Ruff are killing it, and if they're not, hey, it's either Mauricio or Vientos are going to be your part of your DH. Maybe those are your two DHs right there, right? And then Beatty goes to third.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like in the future, going forward. But this is Buck. He'll give those vets a chance. I have no problem with that. As you mentioned, the season's way too long. You can take the month of April to
figure it out.
Got anything there? If not, bye.
Yep. So how you feel good about all this though? How are we feeling about the team, man?
I love it. I just wish maybe the Braves and the Phillies are in another division, right? It's going to be lit again. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Well, Harper just announced he's out to the All-Star game, so I don't think that. Yep. So I'm not on the Philly bandwagon. I don't.
Phillies hangover. I like it.
Yeah, they got hot at the right time, but they don't scare me, man.
I know better this year. I remember I buried him in May last year.
That was all Girardi just being Girardi, and then they figured out their issues. But the Braves are going to be tough, man. The Braves are going to be tough.
Always.
I think the Marlins and the Nats are going to be whatever. But with this new schedule too, it's a lot different. Yeah, we're not playing so many interdivision games, so we're not beating the shit out of each other. We got to play everybody a pretty equal amount of times, right? So
yes.
I'm curious to see how this plays out. I don't particularly like it. I think you should play a heavy divisional schedule, but I'm trying to change with the times, and they're trying to make, I get why baseball is doing it, right? They want to make it a sport where like every team goes to every city so that it can be more popularized, right? So yeah, Doug, I don't know.
That's one of my coolest takes. I would get rid of interleague play completely. I would go back to.
I like interleague play. I think the way they do things I'm tired of like the whole hyped up Subway Series, and out here it's the Freeway Series, and it's just, it's whatever. It's not as cool as it used to be 20 years ago, right? But I do think that they should play every team once. I just think, it doesn't need to be home like the American League. We don't need to play the American League teams home and home, in my opinion. And I think we should play those more home and home with our division. But c'est la vie, right? We're going to get to play. It's the same.
LA trips.
2 LA trips is annoying. I will be going to the first LA trip. No, there's only one LA trip.
No. I'm saying there should be. Like back in the day, the Mets would come to LA, San Francisco, San Diego twice.
Oh, no. I don't like that. I think the cross-country trips, those are grueling, man.
That was an NL-only schedule, of course. So
yeah, those are grueling, man. Just being on a plane for 5 hours and getting off and having to play. I mean, there's definitely jet lag. There's definitely jet lag. And
oh, yeah.
Can't be at your best and time change and all that stuff. So what's your prediction? How we feel we're going to end up this year?
It's a little early, but this is a 95-win team, at least. I gotta see if anybody gets hurt. So I'd like to.
I mean, all things considered,
in about a month, but
okay. We'll no. We need predictions. We need predictions now, Doug. Now, 3/10, March 10th. We're 3 weeks away from opening day. We need to know your hard line. I think we're another 100-win team. We're definitely a 100-win team this year.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, injuries aside, obviously we both can adjust for injuries, but we're a 100-win team with no injuries. For sure.
You know what? I guess if we're not playing the Braves 18 times, I'm down with that.
Yeah. I mean, dude, half this league, that is the other thing about baseball. Right? No, they're not. It's literally like 6 teams in each league that are really trying. And then there's about, 8 teams that are not trying.
The TV money.
Exactly. So we get to play all those teams in equal amount now. So hopefully we mop up on the Marlins and the Nats and the Reds and the fucking Rockies, all these teams that just are putting a poor product on the field. And hopefully these fans let their owners know, we're not going to buy your shitty tickets for your shitty team if you're not going to put a product on the field.
It sucks because some of those towns are great baseball towns. But
yep, crying poor as an owner of a Major League Baseball team is bullshit, and we all know it.
Then get the hell out, sell your team,
right, or stop crying poor and just put a better product on the field. I'm not saying you got to spend what Steve Cohen spent, but be competitive, right? Have starting caliber players or have some great rookies coming down the pipeline. I mean, St. Louis is great about this. St. Louis has Goldie and Arenado, and I think they just signed Contreras, right? They got those 3 guys, and then the rest of their team is all homegrown. And
they've been doing that for decades.
Yeah. For decades. And they just keep pumping out great homegrown players. Yeah. So get really good at making homegrown players. And then I don't give a shit if you don't spend as much money or you spend a little bit more on the pitching staff or whatever. But like to spend nothing on anything and then just put the stopgap veteran that's, never made it and he's 28, but he makes the league minimum and he's going to
the Baltimore model.
Right. Well, Baltimore was actually competitive last year, right? So I can't even say that.
They have a great prospect system, finally, right? But they've never spent to add those mid guys that you need to like actually have a baseball team.
Well, they did when Buck was there, and that was when they were the last time they were competitive.
But the last decade, their fans are just like, what are we doing here?
Right.
Like spend some damn money.
Right. Right.
Anyway, baseball. It's going to be great. We're coming up to NFL draft, NHL playoffs, in the baseball season, and plus NBA. If that's your bag, it's going to be a good time.
Yeah, we're done with February, Doug. The dead zone. The dead zone.
You can see it on my face. It's winter long. The winter has been long.
Hey man, nobody makes you live in Connecticut, bro. Nobody makes you live in Connecticut.
People make me live in Connecticut. Let's get that right. I'm not the boss here.
It's good to know that. It's good to know that and recognize that early, because then it eliminates a lot of pain and suffering. So, all right, Dougie, what do you got to say here? It's been a great show.
I'm not going to do a big soliloquy on Jim Boeheim. I know a lot of people don't like him. He's kind of been a punching bag lately, and maybe it's a little past his time.
I mean, he definitely killed a guy.
He kind of killed a guy.
He definitely killed
reporters. He was the last one standing, basically, unless you count Patino at Iona, of that generation, though, of just iconic coaches, right? And Coach K bowed out last year. Calhoun, a few years ago. It's sad. It's obviously time, but anyone who is a Syracuse fan just knows what he's done and brought to that community. A ton of Final Fours. Unfortunately, only one title, but it's tough.
Still got one.
And the dude did it for 47 years with a 2-3 zone. Man, I'd like to see someone else do that. I mean, that's the end of the 2-3, right? So, Jim Boeheim, vaya con Dios. Thank you.
Con Dios.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, guys. Been a great show. Till next time. All right. Great. Mets Part 2.
Meet the Mets.
Meet the Mets. There we go. Meet the Mets Part 2.
Love the Mets, baby. Let's go.
That was a good one, man. That was good. I think that was good. That was good. That was good,
man. We got to get lit up one of these episodes during the weekend or something.
Yeah, dude. I'm